What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. In today's episode, we're doing a quick vlog around the whole food forest. I want to stay consistent with the weekly updates so that you can see how a food forest develops over time. Things are really starting to blow up here. It's spring. We're getting a good amount of rain. The perennials are putting on a great amount of growth, and I'm really getting back into the annual gardening. So let's start with the annuals. My vegetable garden. If you were here for last video, you know I got this vegetable plot on my back patio where I've chopped and dropped and then wood chipped over everything. And I'm starting the process of planting into those wood chips. So I've got chamomile starts already put in. And like I said in the last video, when I'm ready to plant, all I do is simply pull the wood chips away until I get to soil. I'll plant in the soil and then cover back up, mulch basically, back over everything. So it's spring. I'm starting to get the chamomile planted out. I've got more seed starts here to get put out. And every other week, I'm going to be starting a new batch of seeds, veggies, to get put out in the food forest. So I've got kale and collards here. I'll have zucchini and squash also coming out in just a little bit. So the annual vegetables are starting to come out as it's spring. And the perennials, as you can see, are putting on lots and lots of green growth. It's really starting to thicken up back here. So I want to talk about a couple things, touch on a couple things. Of course, we're getting growth. All the pineapple guava are putting on fresh green growth. Everything else has just about leafed on, and they're starting to set some fruit. So peaches, apricots, mulberries, pawpaws, all starting to set some fruit. And really quickly, just want to give you a peek at this companion planted zone here. This is a great demonstration of how you can be planting underneath your trees. So I've got garlic chives, I've got catnip, and then I've got English peas starting to grow and trellis up these tomato cages. And this is all planted right underneath a peach tree. So this always has been one of my favorite little demonstrations to show here. The garlic chives are going to prevent scab. The catnip is going to bring in beneficial insects, predatory insects and wasps. And then of course I'm getting like a little bit of nitrogen fixation from the sweet peas. But all those plants are not competing with the peach tree. They are actually there to help the peach tree. Blackberries coming up right now. We've got primocanes that are coming up. So lots of fresh new green growth coming on. The food forest itself is starting to look really thick and dense. All the nitrogen fixing shrubs I've added over the past 2 years are really doing their job to help kind of insulate this place and make it just feel a little tighter, a little thicker back here. Chickens still doing chicken things. Potato pots looking really good, starting to put on some green growth. I have purple potatoes, we've got Yukon gold potatoes, and then we've got red russets all growing in a whole series of pots back here. Mulberries, let me give you a peek at the mulberries. I have two black mulberry trees here on site, a black mulberry and a Pakistani mulberry. And you can see they're loaded. So I'm guessing in another month or so, both of the mulberry trees will be ready to harvest fruit. We did kind of have a last frost scare, but it didn't really touch this yard at all, believe it or not. It wasn't cold enough long enough to do any damage. So everything is still looking really good here. I'm going to zoom down just a little bit to kind of show you the ground cover we got here. And the entire ground is covered with things like clover. We have lamb's quarters, which is a weed that I allow to grow up. I've got volunteer squash and zucchini all over the place. There is chickenweed back here, chickweed. This is another one of the edibles that I like to throw into my salads. So my ground cover is a mix of nitrogen fixing plants like the clover, and then we've got some of the edible weeds that I allow to grow back here. Keep on walking through. Like I said, it's getting really tight back here. And I'm starting to clear my way, clear little pathways through the food forest so that once it is larger and more mature, I still have areas to walk through and maintain things. The pawpaws, I got a big pawpaw patch here. I got another pawpaw patch right here. They're starting to put on leaves and set fruit, believe it or not. Let's see if we can get a peek at. So here are the pawpaw flowers that have been hand pollinated by me. And you can see the little tiny banana-like fruits starting to want to come on. So pawpaws are going to be fruiting again this year, just like last year. I did a whole pawpaw series last year, and I did a taste testing and everything. So if you missed that, do check out last year's photos. Here's another pawpaw patch that's been pollinated. They look like little tiny bananas. Hoosier banana is a great name for this tree. Overall, garden fans, I'm at this place where the food forest is really developing, and I don't have to do a whole lot. Perennially speaking, I prune and I harvest. And other than that, I kind of let nature do what she does best back here, and that's grow. I want to show you one more thing. I've got a giant hugel mound back here. This started out as 3 vegetable boxes 6 years ago, and I broke those vegetable boxes down. They all had wood core in them, and it's basically turned into a giant hugel mound. And on this hugel mound, I've got a pomegranate as the main crop. Right next to that pomegranate is one of those Iliagnus that I've been talking about, these nitrogen fixing shrubs. They are flowering in full and bringing in all types of native pollinators. I have ladybugs all over these things. So I've got my pest control in action. This hugel mound supports other things like blackberries, cane blackberries, thornless blackberries. And then as an understory, we have things like lemon balm and mint starting to come up here for spring. Now, you can see I keep piling on the mulch. These are elderberry clippings, and elderberry is so hardy that I've stuck these dead canes into the ground, and they're wanting to kind of come back to life. So I'm not going to stop that from happening, but just to kind of show you how hardy elderberry is, it doesn't take much and it'll root on its own. We have a Mexican beautyberry here, and then that's kind of an understory for my plum trees here in the back. So all in all, garden fans, this is a dense, thick, suburban food forest where we have multiple species of perennials growing, planted on top of each other and growing in this nice little symbiosis. There is no competition here between any of these trees. They love life, they're loving it here, and it's gonna get really thick this year. This will probably be the thickest it's ever been. So if you're not already, please subscribe, tap that notification bell so that you can see us on our journey this year and as this food forest continues to develop. If you got any questions about permaculture or what I'm doing out here in general, please just ask. Really appreciate y'all. God bless.